Welcome to the Startup Venture Lab podcast, the place where ambitious entrepreneurs turn ideas into profitable online businesses. Whether you're launching your first startup, scaling to six figures, or looking for game-changing growth hacks, you're in the right place. Join us as we break down proven strategies, expert insights, and real-world success stories so you can build, grow, and dominate in the new digital world. Ready to take action? Let's dive in with our host and tech entrepreneur, J. Todd Jennings. Over to you, JT.
Welcome to the Startup Venture Lab podcast. I am your host, JT. And of course, today, we are going to be talking about the continued acceleration of AI with my colleague, Eric Silver. So, $3 trillion, that's how much the AI industry is predicted to add to the global economy by 2030. But today's conversation with three AI pioneers suggests that number might actually be far too conservative.
You know what's fascinating about that prediction? It's based on current AI capabilities. But from what we just heard, the technology is advancing faster than anyone expected.
Exactly right. Take Stability AI's work with James Cameron. They've reduced rendering time for movie frames from thousands of hours to just minutes. That's the kind of exponential progress we're seeing across the board.
The implications for creative industries are staggering, though I was struck by how they pushed back against complete automation.
Well, that's what makes this conversation so interesting. Instead of the typical AI replacing humans narrative, they're describing a future where AI amplifies human creativity. Like how they predict we'll see 5 to 20 times more content being created, but with directors and actors still at the core of the creative process.
Speaking of unexpected developments, what really caught my attention was Richard Sower's revelation about AI designing entirely new proteins. How do you see that changing medicine?
It's revolutionary. They've already created proteins that are 40% different from anything in nature with specific antibacterial properties. But here's what's really mind-blowing. They're doing this using the same type of language models that power chatbots. It's like they found a way to speak the language of biology.
That's exactly the kind of breakthrough that shows how AI is moving beyond just text and images.
And let's talk about Dr. Lee's revelation about building one of the world's top AI models for just $3 million compared to the reported $100 million for GPT-4. It completely challenges our assumptions about who can compete in AI development.
Well, that's a game changer for smaller companies and developing nations, isn't it?
Absolutely right. And it ties into this larger trend of democratizing AI. They're talking about inference costs of 10 cents per million tokens compared to hundreds of dollars from competitors. This isn't just cost reduction, it's about making AI accessible to everyone.
Though I wonder about the implications for the workforce. Their discussion about employees becoming AI managers rather than task performers was particularly intriguing.
You know, that's where their advice for young people becomes really relevant. We had this fascinating debate about whether coding will matter in the future. Prem argued that English will become the new programming language, while Richard insisted understanding code remains crucial.
So what's your take on Dr. Lee's perspective about following authentic interests rather than chasing specific skills?
I think he's onto something profound. The speed of AI development means specific technical skills might become obsolete, but the ability to learn and adapt will always be valuable. And that ties into what they said about every company either becoming an AI company or becoming obsolete.
The urgency in their message was clear, but they remained surprisingly optimistic about the opportunities ahead.
Well, look at how they describe the future of entertainment, not just changes in production, but fundamental shifts in how we consume content. Personalized length, style, even narrative structure. It's about enhancing human experiences, not replacing them.
The democratization of these tools could lead to an explosion of creativity, couldn't it?
That's perhaps the most exciting takeaway. We're moving toward a future where AI isn't just the domain of tech giants. Between more efficient training methods and new applications, these tools are becoming accessible to a much broader range of creators and innovators.
Looking at the bigger picture, what do you think is the most important message for our listeners?
I think it's that we're at a unique moment where the tools of creation and innovation are becoming both more powerful and more accessible simultaneously. The question isn't whether to engage with AI, but how to do so in a way that amplifies our human capabilities rather than trying to replace them. Let's dive further into Stability AI.
Stability AI just achieved something remarkable. A new system that can understand and create images with near-perfect text accuracy. It's like teaching a computer to be both a master artist and a skilled typographer simultaneously.
That's fascinating. What exactly makes this breakthrough so different from everything else we've seen?
Well, it's called Stable Diffusion 3, and they've developed this innovative architecture called MMDIT that essentially gives the AI two separate but interconnected processing systems, one for text and one for images. Think of it like having two expert craftsmen working in perfect sync.
So, how does this dual system actually improve the output?
The results are pretty remarkable. When they tested it against industry leaders like DALL-E3 and Midjourney V6, it outperformed them in following instructions, rendering text, and overall visual quality. But here's what's really interesting. They're making it accessible by offering versions ranging from 800 million to 8 billion parameters.
Hmm. Parameters? Could you break that down a bit?
Think of parameters like the AI's brain cells. The more it has, the more sophisticated tasks it can handle. The full 8 billion parameter version runs on a high-end graphics card and creates images in just 34 seconds. But what's truly groundbreaking is how they've improved the actual generation process.
What did they change about the process?
They're using something called rectified flow, which creates a direct path between random noise and the final image. But here's the clever part. They discovered that by focusing more attention on the middle stages of generation, they could significantly improve the results. They tested this against 60 other approaches and found it consistently performed better.
That's quite impressive. But what about the text handling capabilities you mentioned?
So they've implemented 3 different text processing systems, 2 clip models, and T5. What's fascinating is that you can actually remove the T5 component to save memory with only minimal impact on general performance. Though there's a catch, typography quality drops to 38% success rate without it.
Why would anyone choose to remove such an important component?
It's all about flexibility. Some users might prioritize general image generation over perfect typography, especially if they're working with limited hardware resources. The system is designed to adapt to different needs and constraints.
Looking ahead, what does this mean for the future of AI image generation?
The scaling studies showed something remarkable. There's no apparent ceiling to the model's potential. As they add more parameters and training, performance keeps improving. Plus, this multimodal architecture could potentially extend to video and other media types.
That's pretty mind-blowing. Any concerns we should be thinking about?
Well, while the technical achievements are impressive, we need to consider the broader implications. Issues like copyright, impact on creative industries, and the potential for misuse need careful consideration. The ability to generate increasingly realistic images with accurate text raises important questions about authenticity in our digital world.
How are they addressing these concerns while pushing the technology forward?
They're taking a measured approach by offering different versions of the model, each with its own balance of capabilities and resource requirements. It's not just about pushing technical boundaries, it's about creating practical, responsible tools that can be integrated into various workflows.
So, what's your take on where this technology is headed?
I believe we're witnessing a fundamental shift in AI capabilities. This isn't just incremental improvement, it's a complete rethinking of how AI systems can understand and create content. The implications for design, communication, and creative expression are enormous, and we're likely just seeing the beginning of what's possible.
I would like to thank Eric Silver for both his time and for sharing his insight with us. It's been great. So that will wrap up this episode of the Startup Venture Lab podcast. We hope you took away new information and expanded your understanding of all the possibilities that AI will bring to us. Until next time, I am JT.
This podcast is brought to you by the Startup Venture Lab. If you're interested in starting an online business, have an idea, or are looking to grow your business, check out our exclusive member community online at startupventurelab.com.